Okay, today we're going to be talking about the top 5 pros, top 5 cons of moving to Tennessee. So, whether you're looking at the pros or the cons, the good and the bad, the beautiful and the ugly, the yin and the yang, the up and the down, we're going to take a look at everything as it pertains to moving to the Nashville, Tennessee, and the surrounding areas around Tennessee. And we're going to get started right now. Okay, before we dive in, I want you to make sure you stick around till the very end of the video, because at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you about 2 great places that our family loves to go here in the Tennessee area. You got to stick around to the end to find out what it is, though. Okay, we're going to start with number 5, and it's the con. The number 5 con is the sales tax here in Tennessee, because the state sales tax is 7%, and then on top of that 7%, there's also municipality like county tax or maybe city tax, depending on which city. And that can range anywhere from 1.5 to say 3%. So you could potentially have 9 or 10% sales tax here in Tennessee, depending on which county you're in. In Davidson County, it's pretty high. In Williamson County, it's pretty high. So if you're in that middle Tennessee area, you could be paying up to 9 or 10% in sales tax. Okay, on the opposite side of that, that's a pro, is that there is number 5 pro, that there is no state income tax. So while you do have a little bit higher sales tax as it relates to across the country and compared to across the country, it's a lot less for the income tax, because income tax is 0. You do not pay state income tax, which is like getting a raise of about 6%. So it does really even out if you really think about it. And in addition to that, it's still cheaper if you look at how the economy works here in the state of Tennessee, because you're only paying sales tax on the things you purchase versus getting taxed on all of your money that you end up making. Okay, on to number 4. The number 4 con is the traffic. You may be thinking, well, traffic's probably not that bad in the South. Well, if you're from Chicago or New York or maybe LA, that's true. But if you're from pretty much anywhere else in the country, you're going to see a lot of traffic with a lot of lanes on the interstates, and it is pretty brutal at times. Now, keep in mind that Nashville is kind of a middle point in the country, not the complete middle point, but it's a thoroughfare. So you have I-40 that runs east to west across the country, and then you have I-65 that runs north to south across the country. So when you're looking at traffic, there is a lot of traffic that just comes through this town and through the area and doesn't really live here. And then in addition to that, there's a lot of people that do live here. So if you are not into traffic, this is definitely a con for you, because the traffic can be bad. It's getting really bad in downtown Nashville around like certain times of the day, and certainly during rush hour is just brutal. So if you are looking at, maybe you work till 5, you may want to consider working a little bit later, or maybe your boss will let you adjust your hours a little bit, or maybe you just stay where you're at, go work out, go to the grocery store, do that kind of thing. And then when it's not a rush hour, you could take off and do your thing. Okay, the number 4 pro is the cost of living. The cost of living in Middle Tennessee overall, as an average across the country, is about 14% less than the rest of the country, where you have places like California, New York, and Chicago, and some of those bigger cities, even in Atlanta, things are super expensive in those cities. So overall, Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, is still a little bit less, and they're taking everything into consideration: housing, the cost of living for food, and for the not just your groceries, but your gas and your automobile and things like that. So looking at the overall cost of living index, Middle Tennessee is a little bit less, which makes it a pro in my book. On to number 3. Number 3 in the cons list is that Tennessee, if you didn't know this, you need to look at a map or pay attention to geography. It is landlocked. What does that mean for you and for me? That means that we do not have a beach. There are no beaches when it comes to ocean around Tennessee. The closest ocean to us, not by flight, but by car, is the Gulf of Mexico, which is about 7 hours away if you're going to, say, Gulf Shores, Alabama, or some of the western parts of Florida. Now, it doesn't mean you can't jump on a plane and go find a beach or something like that. I'm just saying that it's not super close and not super convenient to be at the beach. If you're kind of that weekend beach kind of person, this is not the place to move because it's a con, it's landlocked. This leads me to the number 3 pro, which is outdoor life. The outdoor life in Middle Tennessee and across Tennessee is amazing. Not only is it nice 4 seasons, and it's not always nice, I can't say it's perfect all the time, but there are 4 seasons and there's plenty of time to do outdoor activities. So you have outdoor activities like horseback riding, motorcycles, you have all kinds of things that you can do outside. There's whitewater rafting on the east side of the state. There's spelunking and looking in caves, looking at the stalactites and the stalagmites, easy for me to say, and definitely mountain biking, horseback riding, I probably already said that. Lake life, there's skiing, and there's all kinds of things to do outdoors, even hiking and waterfalls. There are some amazing waterfalls here in Tennessee. So if you're an outdoor person and you like to go do these types of things, Tennessee is definitely one of the pros, is there are so many things to do here in Tennessee. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you knew this, but the number 1 most visited national park in the country is in Tennessee. People think it's Yellowstone. It is not Yellowstone. You'll have to check it out for yourself, find out what it actually is, but I'm telling you, it's not Yellowstone. You want to visit a national park that's the most seen national park year over year, it's here in Tennessee. Okay, real quick before we continue, I just want to let you know, if you're looking for all the things around Nashville and looking for anything that as it relates to Nashville and finding out more about the area, feel free to click the subscribe button down below, click the bell for notification. You'll get notified every single time we upload a new video. We're constantly adding to the videos to kind of give you a tour around town, and this is definitely a great way for you to continue and see more and more videos about Nashville. Okay, back to it now. Number 2 is the housing prices. This is a con for sure. Year over year, if you look at the season between COVID 2020 to 2023, where we are in the fall of 2023 right now, the housing prices have gone up across Nashville, across the Middle Tennessee area, in some areas 30 to 35%. It is amazing how quickly the housing prices have gone up. I'm walking through a neighborhood right now that the houses are every bit of, if they're not $1 million, they're right at $1 million. It is super expensive in this particular neighborhood. Now, there's still some pockets across Middle Tennessee that aren't quite as expensive. You can still find good deals in the 300s, 400s, 500s, 600s. So there's still room for first-time home buyers. There's still room for like people that are move-up buyers, people that are downsizing. There's plenty of room for other people, but overall, the pricing in Nashville and the Middle Tennessee area has increased quite dramatically. The number 2 pro is this is Music Town. This is Music City is what they call it. And Tennessee is known for its music, not just here in Nashville, but if you think country music began, they say it began in Bristol, Tennessee. And then you have rock and roll and the blues that began in Memphis. And then sandwiched between the two, right in the middle, is Nashville, which is Music City, famous for Music Row. Music Row is where all of the record labels are at, or a lot of the record labels are at. So when you're looking across the state of Tennessee, Tennessee is full of awesome music. Directly here in the Middle Tennessee area and the Nashville area, you can't go to a restaurant, indoor or outdoor, and not find live music. There's live music everywhere. We'll put a list of some of our favorite places down in the description below. But you definitely want to check out Music City because there is plenty of music here in the Middle Tennessee area. Quick pause, I want to go over one thing real quick. Our team and our agent partners, we get calls from people just like you from all over the country looking to make their move to the Middle Tennessee area. If that's you and you have questions, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, and we'll gladly help you find a place where you can live, work, and play. Now let's jump back in. Okay, back to the pros and cons. The number one con that we are looking at least in my opinion, is the weather here in Tennessee. I like the weather as it relates to having 4 seasons and having a little bit of variety. I've lived in a really hot climate and I've lived in an extremely cold climate. So it does give 4 seasons, and that's a positive. But when you're looking at the South, there is a lot of humidity, and the humidity can be bad. So if you don't like to sit and sweat, because you can literally just sit and sweat in the South during the summer because of the humidity being 70% or more, and you're just sitting there doing nothing, and you're still sweating. It can be pretty brutal. On the flip side of that, the snowfall ranges on the Memphis side of the state at about 3 to 5 inches, 8 to 12 inches in Middle Tennessee, and it can be up to 80 inches in the eastern part of the state up near Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. Okay, the number one pro here in Tennessee, in my opinion, is the hospitality. Southern hospitality is at its best. I've lived in the South. I grew up in the South, and then I ended up moving north for a while, and it was definitely a shock to me seeing that people don't nod and don't say hi, and they kind of keep to themselves. Here in the South, here in Tennessee, most people, not all people, but most people are super friendly. It's definitely a place that people love to live because of all the people that are nice. There's people everywhere, and there's definitely people on the street. They're going to say hi to you. Hey, how you doing? And this is the perfect place if you're looking to make a move and you do like people. Now, obviously, if you don't like people, then you probably shouldn't move here. But that's another thing, I guess. As I promised you at the very beginning, I want to let you know there's 2 things that my family loves to do. We love to go to Opryland Hotel or Gaylord Opryland Hotel Resort. And there's 2 parts to that. Number 1, they have seasonal activities, things you can do. There's Halloween. You can go for Christmas. They have country Christmas. There's millions and millions of lights all over the place, all over Gaylord Opryland Hotel. And then attached to that hotel and resort is a place called Sound Waves. It is an indoor water park. Now remember, I told you that there wasn't any beaches here. That doesn't mean that there's not anything to do in the water. There's an indoor water park, so you can literally go see Christmas lights, bring your swimsuit, and you can still go swimming. There's water slides, there's all kinds of things to do at the indoor water park. Hope this has been helpful, and if you like the video, you can certainly click the subscribe button, click the like button, and give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next video. Hope to show you around town.